Hey guys, and welcome back to the Chaotic Kids channel, where I, Michelle, document my life here on YouTube as I try to become a full-time author while also traversing the world's multiple personalities. If that sounds interesting to you, stick around. But today we are going to be starting a new month where I'm hopefully going to get back into writing and getting back into actually praying my rosaries that I want to pray every day. So yeah, let's get into it. Okay, guys, so today is November 30th. I am starting the month off here just because it feels like a good time to start the month. Um, yeah. Let's talk about November real quick and then we'll go into December, kind of thinking of some goals that I want to accomplish. So, for the month of November, I wrote 31,480 words. I wrote for 20 days that month. Um, all really good, especially considering that I lost my job, which we'll get into in a little later. But so I wrote 18,780 words in my JJ project, which was my main priority for the book, for the month. Mostly because it was like the rough draft challenge, NaNoWriMo kind of time, and I wanted to write 30,000 words in that month. I technically hit the 30,000 words, but I wanted it to solely be in JJ's project, which didn't happen because it hit Act 2. And I also wrote 12,600 words in my journaling stuff, which is okay. I would have liked it to be less and had more words for JJ. Um, but it's how it happened. Um, but so for the month of December, I have a lot more lofty goals. I feel like just because I'm wanting to get to do more work throughout the day in my projects. Now, if you guys do not know, as I said in the intro, I have multiple personalities as I try to become a full-time author kind of thing. Like, I have three pen names. I have Shelly, Grace, and Maris. Each one want to be a full-time author, like making a reasonable amount of money. I don't think we've ever actually thought out how much money we want to make per book, like per pen name, to make sure it feels like we're doing the right thing. But obviously we want to make enough money to be able to financially support ourselves and hopefully get off a disability. That's kind of the end goal for us in the game plan of life. But so Shelley writes these Bugstopia books up here. They are middle grade children's chapter books. Did I say Shelley? I think so. They're the Bugstopia PD middle grade children's chapter book series that we wrote for our nephew. We're currently on book 16, I think, of it. But we honestly have a lot of books to still write in the series. And we just need to do some brainstorming. So for the month of December, we want to reread every book that we've had written for this series, and just kind of not plot, but write things down of things like, okay, this is the plot thread that happened here and stuff like that. And then there is Maris, who writes high fantasy adventure series. Maris, we're mostly just doing a lot of brainstorming just because we're not planning on writing Maris's world until we're much older. Well, much older, like maybe in 10 years. Just so then we have a little more experience under our belt for writing, because it's going to be a high fantasy adventure series, maybe even an epic series, so we needed to work up to it. And honestly, I feel like we are doing a high fantasy adventure series, we're doing epic series for each one of our pen names, because Bugstopia is going to expand more than just the Bugstopia world. It's gonna have picture books and all these different book styles within the Bugstopia world, but not as grand as I think. Not as grand as I think Maris is gonna be, but that's besides the point. It's still gonna be massive, especially considering it's for little kids, but Then our third pen name that we work under is Grace. She writes our Christian fiction books, which JJ's project is the one that we were primarily working on. This is a young adult contemporary Christian fiction book series that has lots to deal with mental health. And for the month of December, we want to hit Act 3 of JJ's story And we would like to just do more rough draft rather than like drafting, editing, moving on to the next chapter, if that makes sense. So yeah, we have a lot of game plans. We also like our main priority to like get into this month of December, kind of moving into 2026, is we want to try to write 4 or 5 hours per day, or at least be doing 4 to 5 hours worth of work per day in trying to pursue being a full-time author. Because that's about a part-time job. Obviously, we'll not work all the hours, but like do part-time hours kind of thing, just to kind of build up stamina and stuff. Obviously, give ourselves days off when we need it, but doing what we can. Um, so yeah, those are our goals. And some like mini goals that we have is to like work on like actually read the books that we want to read. We feel really bad about not reading books, considering like every author we know, like every author we watch on YouTube. Like we don't have author friends in real life, we just watch YouTube friends. But we like all of them read books, and I'm like, we are not a reader. Like we read books when we want to, but like 95% of the time you'll find us on YouTube rather than reading, and I want to change that. So yeah, I think that wraps up everything real good. I'll be right back real quick. Okay, so I did a little tidying up. I also put my Christmas decorations up while I was listening back to the playthrough, like listening to my previous recording. But so what is the game plan for today, the 30th? I need to record a video for the Author Shelley page, which is another YouTube channel where I primarily talk about the Bugstopia books, which are obviously Shelley's works of art. I would also like to do some writing today. It is currently 9 o'clock. I am doing laundry. I think that laundry should actually be done. But I think what I'm going to do is work a little bit on Grace's book. So I'm going to be working on JJ's project, working on chapter 14. Working on chapter 14. Probably finish writing that chapter within an hour. Might actually do some writing sprints, just because I typically don't do writing sprints. But maybe it's important to start doing them. Because I eventually would like to do writing challenge, like writing productivity sprints on YouTube. So maybe I'll do that. I think I will work on JJ's project for about an hour. Then I'll move into recording the video for Shelley. Then probably go eat and redo it again. Like restart it up again. I don't know. Yeah, I think that's the game plan. So I will see you guys in an hour or so. Bye. Hey guys, so it is about 10:38. I've been working for about an hour. I worked on JJ's story. I added 12,400. Hold on. Let me retry those numbers. 1,246 words to JJ's project. I'm having a little trouble staying, like, in the story. Not necessarily in the story, but, like, I'm just struggling. Like, I'm just, like, my mind is racing with all these ideas and stuff, and I'm like, okay, I need to take a break. I'll come back. I'll re-edit what I've got. So I'll re-edit that 1,200 words, and then keep writing it. But for right now, I need to go change my laundry. And then I'm probably going to record the video for the Author Shelley page. I think that's the game plan. Yeah, I've just been working. That's all I gotta say. I'll see you guys later. Bye. Hey guys, it's December 1st. It is pretty late in the night. Well, I say late in the night. Late for me to be writing. I usually stop writing at like noonish. But it's currently 6 o'clock, and honestly, it's because I haven't done any writing this whole morning. This whole day, just because I wasn't feeling good, and I was like, I just don't feel like writing. But then at 4 o'clock, I prayed the rosary, I did a little spiritual work, And then I had to go over to my dad's house real quick to make sure he got home. And then I was journaling and I was like, I just had this vigor. I had this like want and desire to do more. So I'm going to sit down and write for a little bit. How long? I don't know. Until I get bored and tired. But yeah, I'm working on JJ's project. Need to reread what I have already previously written and then get into starting some more writing in it. I was talking to my sister today, and like it's hard and complicated to like know what book I'm working on, considering I don't even know what book I'm working on at sometimes. Like some days I'll be talking about one book and sometimes I'll be talking about another book, and it's just a whole spiral. But my sister is always like, I don't understand how you can like go into writing a book and have no idea where it's going. And I've told her multiple times, I'm like, it's because I'm a pantser, like, or I'm a discovery writer. I discover the story as I tell. And she's just like, I don't understand you. And especially considering, like, she remembers from being in high school, like, the teachers always wanted you to, like, outline an essay that you were going to write. I could never do that. Like, I could never do that. Like, I would sit there and be like, looking at the paper and be like, okay, this is what they want. I know what they want, but I'm like, I don't know how to put this into an essay. And like, even my essays were pretty like almost narrative, and I'm like, I can't do this how you want me to. That's not how my brain works. And like, I have to know all the information, and like, sometimes even I don't know how to describe it. Like, I have to just discover what I'm going to say in the moment. I can't know everything right off the bat because then I change my mind. I don't know. It's interesting. But I'm just rambling. Let me get into some writing sprints. I think I'm going to start with a 25-minute writing sprint and see how far I can get into chapter 14, and then we'll do some more. Yeah, bye. I had a really good clip that I had recorded that I deleted because it was corrupted. Anywho, today is December 2nd. It is a Tuesday. I'm working on JJ's story, which is my Christian contemporary coming of age. I screwed that up. It's a YA contemporary Christian fiction story with a coming of age story where I'm following a bunch of juniors in high school / like different age. Like I'm following one class of juniors as they fall back into their religious standings. My first book that I'm working on is a book with a character named JJ. JJ was homeschooled for the longest time in his life, but recently he had to be not get thrown into it, but he's getting put back into schooling, and he got put into a Catholic school where his grandfather is actually the priest of the school. There's a lot of drama going on, but at a certain point in Act 2, like, the JJ everyone knew gets pulled back into the back of the head, and different alters can stand up and try to control. Well, they don't all try to control the day, but that is whenever the reader learns that JJ is actually a multiple, kind of like me, has multiple personalities, multiple alters. Like, me and JJ both have some sort of dissociative disorder, like either DID or OSDD, just some sort of dissociative disorder. I'm not very good at classifying it. It's just who I am. I don't know what I've got, and like you have to have like I'm like, not you have to. Well, yeah, you do. To get diagnosed, you have to have like a clinical psychologist to do it. And I'm like, I'm not that. So I'm not gonna try to be like, oh, this is what he has because I say so. Like, no, he's just got something. But yeah, so we're currently on chapter 14. We're at 39,398 words in the story. This is the part where all of JJ's other parts besides this main part, who's like the prosecutor, but like, I want to say the villain of the story, but like, there is no villain. Well, I don't know how to describe it. If like, things about alters and stuff, like, or multiple personalities, like, there's no such thing, like, multiple personalities is not how it is reflected in media today. Like, there's no, like, superhuman strength or some craziness like that. Like, or like there's one that's like a murder or something like that. That's not how it is. It's just this person, his name's Julian, is a prosecutor, meaning he's got trauma, but like for me it means he's like got a slightly darker sense to him almost. Like he is more rebellious. I don't know. I'm not very. I don't know all the definitions for people with alters and stuff. I may be someone who's a system, but I don't know all the definitions because we don't follow them. But Julian is kind of the darker sense, and he forced the character JJ back into the back of the mind, and now all these parts are trying to get him back to be like get JJ back to be able to work as a system again. Um, so it's going to be a lot of Julian running the front of the ship, while the rest of the alters are working on the back of the ship to get JJ to realize where he came from, kind of thing. Yeah. I don't know, I'm having a lot of fun. Right now, I'm kind of setting up what, like, the back of the headspace looks like. Because, like, I'm discovering how the back of the headspace looks like for as the story, as everyone else does. But so I have in the back of the headspace, like, this little altar. She's a little. Littles are basically young, like, anyone, like, children altars. Um, and she's wandering into the back trying to find JJ's cell, because he's literally in a padded cell right now, like, in the back of the head. And, she's, like, trying to find JJ, but in the back of the head, there's, like, your fears will manifest into string-like arms that'll try to grab you. And obviously she's a child, so it's kind of scary. And I'm just like, part of me is like, this is pretty dark. Like, not dark, but like, for a little, like, for me, since I have little altars, I'm like, I could never imagine just blindly sending them off into the void to find someone. But apparently that's what this story is. But also I'm like, I feel like as I'm thinking about this, I'm like, I feel like it has to be this little altar who needs to start the story off. Like, not start the story off, but start letting JJ learn about himself, if that makes sense. But yeah. So this chapter that I'm working on is chapter 14. So far it's at like 17, maybe 18,000 words long. Fairly good. Each chapter so far has been like 2,000 to 3,000, maybe even 4,000 words long, which I've kind of been like, is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? But I'm also like, it's just this story. I keep telling myself that's just this story, but at the same point, like, I don't know. I'm just writing it to enjoy it. If I need to cut back words when I try to get it traditionally published, I will do it, but I really don't want to. Yeah. And, like, I've thought about, like, even being like, maybe I'm going too dark for my debut Christian contemporary coming-of-age storyline. But I'm like, no. This is the story I'm meant to tell. But yeah, so I'm going to get into some writing. Planning on doing a 25-minute writing sprint where I reread what I have already previously written. And then the next 25, I will go into writing some new words and hopefully finishing the first draft of this first draft of this chapter, but finishing off this chapter and getting it to the point where I feel confident in it. So, yeah, let's get into it. Oh, yeah, so I just got done with my first 25-minute writing sprint. I've been lately doing writing sprints with, like, a kitchen timer and actually doing writing sprints rather than just writing until whenever and I feel done, just so then I kind of have more of a break. I think I'm going to do this more often now. Or at least I'm doing it with JJ's story. I don't know if I'm going to do it with Bugstopia when I get back to that. But yeah, so for my first 25-minute writing sprint, I added 312 words to the story. This is ideally part 1 of this chapter. So ever since chapter 13, I've kind of divided the chapters up into, like, part 1 and part 2. But what I do is, like, I have a squiggly line that's just my page break rule. Well, it's not page break, it's more like mind break, instead of, like, working in, like, the front of the book, like, in the front of the book, like, the story arc, like, the front of the book is, like, the story arc of what's happening on the world outside of the body. But part 2 is the back work of like everyone working as a system trying to get JJ back, if that makes sense. And I'm like, maybe I could just leave the, like, I could not imagine leaving out any parts, like, I couldn't imagine leaving anything out of this book so far, because right now I'm almost at 40,000 words, and I'm like, I don't know, I feel like 40,000 words should almost be the end of the book, rather than just getting to the middle, but I'm also like, I'm not even close to the middle, I'm only at the beginning parts of Act 2, and me and my sister were talking, and we were like, just talking about the size of the book and stuff. And I'm like, this book might end up being like over 120,000 words long. And she's like, that sounds crazy. And I'm like, yes. But also at the same point, like, all the details that I'm putting into this book, I feel like are important. But she's like, how many pages is that going to be? And I'm like, I don't know. Depends on formatting. But also, she's like, that seems like a pretty big book. And I'm like, well, also, you don't read books. Anyways, that's just a dig at my sister. But I'm just like, if I did have, because Act 1 is chapters 1 through 12, and I'm ideally thinking of like 4 acts of this book for the, like, Act 1, Act 2 Part 1, Act 2 Part 3, and the conclusion and stuff, or Act 4. So I'm like, if I have 12 chapters per book, per part, that's going to be a monstrous book. Like, that's 48 chapters, which seems so long, but at the same point, I'm like, is that long? But I just don't know. And honestly, like, I feel like once we hit the climax, everything will just fall into place. I think. I could be wrong. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. I'm just mildly freaking out about word counts, because I'm like, I know at the end of the day you're supposed to kill your darlings, but I'm like, I really love this story, and like, it feels like it hits close to home with me. But I'm also like, I know I need to market it towards a wider audience rather than just me. So I don't know. I really need to do a video where I talk about JJ's story and talk about the books I'm working on. But I think, like I said, primarily right now I'm working on JJ's story just to get that done, so then I can move on to more Bugstopia books while I'm also querying this book and also work on picture books. So yeah. But anywho, I'm gonna get into the second 25-minute writing sprint where maybe I'll reach 40,000 words. I don't know. We'll see. So, see ya. Guys, I just got done doing part 2 of chapter 14, and I am absolutely in love with what I did. So yeah, like, I love what I did. I did add 1,000 words to it. Well, actually, okay. I added 778 words. But in total today, I've written over 1,000 words. But I'm like, I love what I just did, because, like, I connected, like, I gave this altar not mine, but the altar of JJ's a real backstory as how she was formed. And then I also tied in the religious sense by having the song, I don't even know really what it's called, but it's like the Rain Down song. So rain down, rain down, rain down your love on your people kind of thing. I would sing it, but I'm not going to sing. But oh my goodness, I loved it. It was so chef's kiss. I was so proud of myself. Yeah, I just was like, this is perfect. I'm not going to do a single thing to it. But yeah, I'm like super happy that I got that done. I'm going to, I don't know if I want to do anything else today, but it's only 1:30. I would say I probably wrote on this project for about an hour. But I'm going to, maybe what I'm going to do is actually record a video where I talk about the JJ story a little bit, which will may go up before this video or may go up after, so I don't know. But yeah, I think I'm going to record that video and then maybe do some other writing. I don't know. Yeah, I'll see you guys later, okay? Bye! Hey guys, today is December 3rd. It is a Wednesday. It is currently 10 o'clock, so we're going to spend the next hour or so working on getting chapter 14 of Grace's books done. This should be 2 rounds of 25-minute writing sprints just to edit the book, because I'm pretty sure it is done. Well, like, I say edit the book, edit the chapter. just because I don't think we need to add anything like major to this chapter. We're currently sitting at 40,488 words. I really don't want to hit 41,000 words in this chapter. Like, hit 41,000 words in this chapter, like, at the end. I just want it to be under 40,000. 41,000. That's all I want. Because I'm like, otherwise it's like 3,000, probably closer to 4,000 words long. And I'm like, I don't want it to be that long. But also, Grace's works are more in-depth than Shelley's works, so I don't know. I also need to upload a video. I recorded a video yesterday for Grace to have a conversation with you guys. Need to work on uploading that, so I don't know. I'll see you guys later, okay? Bye. Hey guys, so it is like 25, okay, it's closer to like 45 minutes later because I, edited, and then I only took one editing pass through, read through of the chapter 14. Changed it a little bit, only added like 82 words to it. I copied and pasted it over into Google Docs. So yeah, I feel really confident in chapter 14. Really solid. I really enjoy the writing style, and so each one of my pen names have their own different ways of writing. Like, some of them prefer writing, like, I don't know how to describe this other than, like, each one of their, like, writing styles is different. Because each one of those is a different style of book. But, like, even how they draft books, because, like, say with Grace's books, she took 4 days to write one chapter. While with Shelley's books, she writes 2 chapters a day, and then once the book's done, she just sends it off to our editor. Like, I don't know how else to put it except, like, Shelley's books are very, like, first draft, rough draft, word vomit kind of things. And then, as time progresses, like, it takes 7 or 8 rounds of edits to make it a better final polished book. And then there's Grace, which I think her books are much more polished, because we took like 4 days working on them. I say that, I haven't got the edits back from our editor yet, but like, I feel like, based on like what we've written, there's not much we need to change. Like, yes, we need to, like, since we gave our editor the first act of the story, like, we obviously need to add more of, like, how JJ's, I don't know if necessarily we need to add more, but, like, we need to be, like, more hinting at JJ the fact that he has he has parts of himself that he's not sure about and stuff. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this story. My game plan with this book series is to get it traditionally published by a Catholic publishing house. Is that going to happen? I don't know. It's all going to depend on circumstances. But the main reason we want to get, like, the Grace Kitts pen name published with a traditional publisher is because we're also doing picture books, which we are going to be working on next. We're going to be working on picture books, which I think I'm going to put in a different video. Like, have, like, a couple days off from writing in my, like, main project. I don't know. But yeah, so JJ's project, currently at 40,570 words. We added like 28 words that last sprint. The chapter 14 was 3,374 words. I'm actually kind of like half tempted to like do the math on how much each chapter is. Like, actually like highlight a certain chapter being like, okay, this chapter is this much and stuff like that. But yeah, so I'm really excited. I'm really enjoying this story. It's really fun to get to work on it. I also know, like, so on Google Docs, the word headsmates, so I have it in my Google Doc, in my Google Word, in my Word doc, I have headmates as 2 different words, so head and then mates. And then in Google Docs, it wants it to be 1 word. And I'm like, do I put it as 1 word or do I have it put as 2 words? And I think it's just like it depends on who you are, like if you're gonna have it as 2 words or 1 word. But I just need to stay like, this is 2 words, or this is 1 word, it's end of story, not gonna like edit it kind of thing. But yeah, so I'm feeling really good. Like I said, I think I'm gonna close out today's video. Here I'm going to have like, I'm thinking maybe having like, this is just me thinking, like, this is like ideal world, like having like 3 videos go up a week. Saying this, not exactly sure if it will happen. One video will be like videos like this where I'm taking like 4 days to work on an X chapter of Grace's book. The second video is have like another extra video, like more like a fun video, like me just rambling to you guys about different topics. Well, not even different topics, but like doing like my Grace, like working like my Grace WIP project, or just Grace ramblings. If I do Shelly ramblings, if I do Maris ramblings, I don't know. And then I want to do another one where it's like the 3 days that I'm not working, or like the day off of writing on Shelly, like Grace's main project, we're working on this project kind of thing. I don't know. I'm going to be working on I'm going to decide some stuff on that. But yeah, I'm feeling really good. 40,000 words in the story. Gonna keep writing it. I'm gonna take a couple days off. I think I might get started on Friday again. Like, take today and tomorrow off of writing Grace's, like, JJ's story, then coming back and working on a different book. Like, in 2 days, coming back and then working on another chapter. I don't know. We'll see. But that's all I'm gonna say. I will see you guys next time, okay? Bye!